All right, welcome everyone to another edition of the all new, all different House of Strikes. My name is Next P, and as always, I am with Nika KO, Carson, KD Alpha, and Duralath. And so, a lot of stuff's happened in the last couple weeks with regards to news for Third Strike and fighting games in general. So, we're gonna go ahead and jump right into it. But before I start, does anyone have anything to say before we get going? No? Nothing?
I don't know, brought to you by Rockstar.
Rockstar? Okay, good. All right.
Crickets.
All right, then. So, guys, let's go ahead and start the show by talking a little bit about Co-op Cup again. So, remember, guys, Cooperation Cup 15 is set to take place next January 8th and 9th, Lloyd, or 7th and 8th? What was it again? I keep forgetting the dates. What was it, 8th and 9th?
7th and 8th.
7th and 8th, yes. So
No, wait, 8 to 9.
8 to 9, okay.
No, 7, 8. Yeah,
7, 8,
that's-
okay.
7, 8.
7, 8.
7,
Yeah,
8,
7,
okay.
8.
So Cooperation Cup is set to take place on January 7th through 8th. That's a
6 to
Saturday-
7 in America.
Yeah, in America. But that's in Japan time. It's 7 to 8.
7 to 8.
So January 7th to 8th. I know it gets a little confusing. Saturday and Sunday in Japan, but
We'll
Friday
post
and
at the
Saturday.
times.
Yeah, but Friday and Saturday in America. So for those of you who are unfamiliar with Cooperation Cup, it's the biggest Third Strike tournament of the year. It's basically two parts. Day one is pre-cooperation cup, where teams made up of the same character compete. And then the main event, which is on Sunday, is 5-man teams. I think the rule is you can't have more than 3 players with the same character, right, Lloyd?
Uh, you
think
have to
that's
have
cool.
3. You have to have 3 different characters
Yeah.
on a team.
So basically the same thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. For those of you who don't know or who don't follow our Twitter, Team This Is Third Strike is already registered for Co-op Cup. It'll be myself, Lloyd, Frankie 3S, Holdat, and Gavin representing This Is Third Strike. But who cares about us? The bigger news is our very own Duralath has confirmed
Duralath.
for Cooperation Cup. So it's all. So I know Duralath, that this has been a dream of yours for quite some time. So tell us how you feel about finally going to the mecca of Third Strike.
All right, so I started playing Third Strike competitively like after the Daigo parry, and Third Strike literally changed my life. Like, I'm not gonna go into any like sob stories or anything here, but I told myself years ago. I told myself that by the time I'm 30, I want to get to Japan, and all I want to do in Japan, like sites, is like forget the sites. I want to go to like any arcade I could, and just play against the Japanese for as long as I possibly could. Thanks to the powers that be, I'm able to do it. I'm so flippin' hype right now that I can like I get to start 2017 off on like the best foot ever. I don't care if I go 0-2 or 0-1. I don't know. Like I could lose every single match, but the fact is, I'm gonna be in Japan, dudes. We're gonna be in Japan. I'm gonna be in Japan with you guys. Oh, so sick!
I'm so jealous.
So Carson, I know that you went to Japan last year, so there may be
Yeah.
a chance that you're coming.
No.
No.
This doesn't work out timing and money-wise, but 2018.
All right.
Amazing.
And how about you, Jesse? Is Trump pushing you out of the country yet, or?
Dude, if Trump kicks me out, Japan is where I'm gonna try and end up. But yeah, it's not looking like it's gonna happen for me either.
Well, maybe one day the cast and crew of House of Strikes can represent at Co-op Cup.
I would be sick.
Because I always
That
know
would be
that when
sick.
people go once, they always got to go again, right? There's like this. So hopefully, hopefully you guys can make it out next year. But this is my first time in Japan too, and so I'm super excited, Lloyd. I know it's your first time too, right?
Yeah.
So
Well,
what-
you gotta tell us how you feel, because you've been playing from the start.
And I've had
All those
I've had
years with
chances.
American Third Strike.
I've had
Yeah.
chances to go to Japan, but things have just haven't lined up. But they've lined up now, and this is kind of, to me, this is kind of a culmination, and so this is going to be good. So
Because I remember when we first saw the team list and we saw our names on there.
yeah, we had
Like
a feels.
that shit hit
There was
us like a brick wall. We
There
were
was some
like,
feels, yeah. There was.
Like, fuck. Like, this shit is actually gonna happen.
Like, yeah, it's getting real. It's getting real. Well, how about you, Lloyd? I mean, I know you're excited to go to Co-op Cup.
No, yeah, I had the same feeling because I was like, you know, all those years, like watching KO, watching Daigo, all that MOV and all of them, just like, I'm finally gonna be able to play these fuckers like on their home turf and show them like American Third Strike is not the same as it used to be.
This is why I roll with Lloyd. He's still real, right? Like, quote, I can't wait to play with these fuckers.
Because at the end of the day, you know, it's still us against like them, like, you know, in terms of America versus Japan, because we're there to represent America. You know, it's not like we're gonna look at them and say, oh my God, Nuki, we're gonna lose. Nah,
Right.
we're gonna go there and the goal is to win. You know.
Yeah, maybe we can talk about that. Well, go ahead.
I was gonna say because you guys are like the invaders, right? So they're gonna try and protect home turf, and you guys have to show them that you know that you can hang and that you can compete.
Mm-hmm. And we'll definitely talk about that when we get to the segment on team tourneys. But you know, I don't think it's disrespectful at all to go in there wanting to win.
You have to.
Right.
If you don't expect to win, then why would you go?
You know?
It's like the same thing when Vanal came here. You know, they were expecting to win, but you know they only won the team tournament. They didn't win the singles. So,
yeah.
You know, same idea.
All right. So, well, another big news item related to Co-op Cup 15 that came out, I think it was last week, is that Matsuda on his Twitter announced that thanks to Twitch, there is going to be English commentary at Cooperation Cup this year. And so obviously, you know, once Matsuda came out with, you know, this tweet, all the speculation came out, you know, who's going to commentate and so forth and so on. I know someone tweeted Ultra David and James Chan. Obviously, you know, they've done a great job in terms of holding it down in terms of commentary for the FGC. And so that kind of brings us to our next question, or our first question of the show. And that question is, you know, in terms of the English commentary team, you know, who should commentate for Co-op Cup 15? And so I want to start with you, Jesse, because, you know, obviously you're an avid stream monster.
Yeah.
And, you know, and you know, you watch a lot of the Third Strike streams. You know, who would you love to see commentate? Like let's, for example, let's set some parameters for this question. What if it's like a two-man team, right? Usually Co-op Cup, it's a two-man team. You know, what if it was a, you know, which two people would you love to hear commentate Co-op Cup English commentary?
Personally, I like Andrew. Andrew is a great commentator. He brings a lot of hype, but also a lot of professionalism. And then I really like Frankie. Your guy's Frankie, because he has game knowledge, obviously, but he also has personality, and he brings a lot of character to the stream, makes it fun for the viewers. So if I were to pick a dream team, it would be those two guys.
Wow, Frankie and Duralath.
Yeah.
Well, both of them are going to be there. So if you guys, nobody in Twitch is watching this, right? But you know that's one possible team, right? Duralath and Frankie 3S East Coast version. How about you, Carson? Who do you think should commentate Co-op?
Well, I mean, if I could pick anyone, it'd probably be those two hotties that commentated at TFC.
Oh.
But you know, I know one of those guys can't make it. So,
yeah.
I actually think it would be Andrew is definitely a good pick. I also think what's his name? I mean, he's not there, but Yuki would be a great commentator as well, just because he has he can speak Japanese and English as well.
Mm-hmm.
He represents America. Otherwise. Like last year, I know Lloyd and Hold That, they kind of like restreamed and live commentated. I thought they did a great job, even though it was like really late for you guys. And no, I think
we literally had to whisper through that fucking broadcast.
Right.
Yeah, I felt you guys were commentating golf, but you bring up a really good point, Carson. You know that Yuki, right? He can cross that language barrier. You know, he's able to kind of then he'll be able to provide the kind of insight that someone who doesn't understand Japanese wouldn't be privy to. So we have 2 votes for Andrew, but this time teaming him up with Yuki. And also, guys, we need to remember Co-op Cup is really long. You know, we got pre-co-op cup, that's the entire day. We got the regular co-op cup, that's the entire day. I mean, obviously Andrew wouldn't be able to if like no two people could commentate the whole thing. So,
Yeah.
you know, that's
Just for
something
like
to keep in
top
mind.
eight. Just for like top eight, right?
Yeah, you know.
Yeah.
How
Otherwise,
about-
people kind of jump in and out.
Yeah, you will need like people to come in and like act as relief for the guys to get a break.
Mhm.
Right.
How about you, Lloyd?
Well, normally the way I think about what commentary is, there's always got to be two things. Like one person who's like the play-by-play and the other person who's the knowledge. But in this case with Co-op Cup, you need somebody, like you guys said, who speaks Japanese too. So in terms of that, I would probably say RKF. And for the play-by-play, I would probably say Holdat. Because for Fight Club 3, they did pretty well. You know, people were enjoying them, and you know, the stream chat was enjoying them
Mhm.
and everything that they were, because they flew pretty consistently.
Mhm.
And every few moments, RKF, he would always, you know, say like, you know, you can't really do this, you know, talk about the game and stuff. And you know, it just flew perfectly for that kind of thing. So, you know, if it was like an English commentary the way we did it last year, then I would probably go for that because you know, RKF, he knows Japanese too.
Mhm.
You know, and he knows the players.
Mhm.
You know, so that's my choice. Sorry, Andrew.
Oh, and the thing that the stream monsters were commenting on during Fight Club is that Holdat and RKF they had chemistry, and I
Yeah.
don't think chemistry
Right,
can be
right.
overrated. I don't think chemistry can be, you know, you can't really, you know, chemistry is
Quantify
really
Can't
it.
important.
replicate that.
And so, you know, thinking about the dynamic between the two people. So how about you, Andrew? Who do you think should commentate Co-op Cup?
Myself and only me.
I won't vote for myself. Just I'm not a fan of vanity picks like that. RKF was actually my first pick
Mhm.
because I know he's going to be there, and he would be the kind of person that puts in the extra effort, not only with all the matchup knowledge he has, but also player detail. When you're going to tell the story of who each player is, you've got all these teams. That's like there's over like what 300 people already in. I think there's like 79 teams, so 79 teams, like almost 400 people playing Third Strike, and you're going to need to know simple nuances between each of the characters, or excuse me, each of the players, where they're from, their play styles. RKF would be the perfect match to get all of that information. In terms of play-by-play, I like to hold that pick as well. Hold that immensely hype. I'd throw in also a nod to Arliath. I've heard Arliath commentate for years now, and
Oh, Harley.
that dude is absurdly energetic whenever he calls. He's fast, and he can read it as fast
Mhm.
as RKF would. So he'd be able to spout some knowledge, and then RKF, boom, right afterwards, come in with some advanced knowledge, explain the situation. That could be a good pairing too. There's a lot of guys that could be running English commentary this year. Again, thank you to everybody who wants me to do it. I would love to see a whole team of English commentators to, you know, obviously rotate out and make this a heck of an English stream.
Mhm. I think like a Fantastic Four, like a team of 4 commentators, or maybe
Yeah.
even 5, even 6, maybe rotating. I'm surprised I didn't hear any love for the innovator, the father of American Third Strike commentary. We all know who I'm talking about, right? We all know who he's not dead, Andrew.
I know he's not. He's dead. You know,
But obviously I'm talking about John D, Dr. Sub-Zero Rockefeller, right? You know, he's been to Japan. He knows, well, you know, it's been a while since he's been to Japan, but he knows still the top players. The top players know him. And so I think, and you know, John D has a little bit of cachet with the mainstream FGC. You know, he was a contestant on Cross Tekken, I believe. And so
Yeah.
I think, you know, in terms of getting somebody that, you know, that's a really good balance. Because to me, you know, just you know, my opinion, I think it's really important. And obviously, I want you guys to talk about this too. Like how important is it to get somebody who, you know, who not only knows the game but also, you know, keeps up with the current scene of the game. You know, that's obviously very important. You know, in terms of getting an English commentary team that can do those two things. But yeah, I mean, I'm surprised. You know, Rockefeller could be a great pick as well, and also
The
some
only-
of the
yeah.
also some of the English guys. You know, some of the English players that have been holding it down for Third Strike in Europe and so forth and so on. But how important do you guys feel that is, to get somebody there who knows, who keeps up with the current scene?
That's the most important, honestly.
Most
Right,
important?
I agree.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, aside from game knowledge, that's like, well, not most important, but second most important, next to game knowledge. Because, if you don't know this player, like, you could look at somebody like Pearl Rice. He's a player from Game Noon who plays Chun-Li. He's pretty consistent, he plays pretty well. But, a regular player, they won't notice that. They won't know who he is. So unless you keep up with it, you're not going to say, okay, this player should respect, Pearl Rice because he's good, But, aside from that, like, there's that and game knowledge. That's the two most important things.
Mm-hmm. Right. I mean, what else are you guys looking for in an English commentator team?
Personally, for me, as a stream monster, to me, the most boring thing in the world is to get a guy who will literally just drone on and on and on about details and the minutia of, the meta or, things like that. And while that's insightful, it can get to a point where after, an hour of watching it, you just want to turn him off and you don't want to listen to him anymore. So you need someone who is dynamic, someone who is entertaining to watch. So I think that is also important. You don't want someone who's just going to bore everyone to death with details. The details help, but I think having a personality definitely helps, which is why for me personally, I like commentary duos, which someone has the knowledge, but someone is also I guess a color commentator in the sense of just making it fun and enjoyable for someone to watch, so that there's an interplay between the two.
Right.
Like fucking Frankie with his
Yeah,
sweet
exactly.
I also think it kind of depends. You kind of need the right person at the right time. Like I was saying, Andrew and Yuki, or whether it's RKF and Hold That, is perfect for top 8 because they have the game knowledge, they have good chemistry, and everything's good. But for Sub-Zero, or what was his name?
Rockefeller.
Rockefeller. He is the perfect guy before top 8. Kind of just because he kind of goes, to me, he's very entertaining. He's probably the most entertaining.
Yeah, he's over the top for sure.
Yeah, but he kind of sometimes he goes overboard. He won't talk about oh, he shouldn't have done that. He's oh, F it. Oh, this guy.
I'd be like, holy shit, that actually worked.
Exactly, which is good, but then sometimes it's not in the moment, and you need to be more serious. So I wouldn't want to have him for top 8, but before that, he is the guy I would like to watch.
Getting a guy like Rockefeller for pre-co-op with all the same character changes would just be hilarious.
Yeah, that'd be pretty good.
Another guy, same guys in different clothes. One of the key things that you need as a commentary, just in commentary in general, you have to tell the story. No matter what's going on, you could rattle off all the facts, as Katie Alpha said, and that's just droning. But your job there, aside from what's going on the screen, you have to tell the story of what's going on, and you need people who are detail-oriented to pick up on the minute things that the average viewer doesn't see. For example, you'll notice that a player might have done a setup once or twice. So one of your commentators has to be adept at picking those sort of things up to say that, oh, it might happen again, look for this, and give the viewers these things to look at that are beyond just the scope of, oh, low forward nothing, dash up throw. I mean, any asshat can go in and just call the moves as it sits. I mean, the moves are right there, but people don't want that. They want to be told a story. You're their entertainment. So tell them the story and go along with it. And again, that's also going to pair into the chemistry between the two guys. I mean, like I said, I've worked with a lot of commentators that there was sticks in the mud, or they told the balance between the two was 90-10. So you got to story, balance, chemistry.
Unless they're screaming in Japanese, then it just doesn't matter.
Yeah, and then it's hard.
Nuki can do no wrong. Nuki can do no wrong.
Yeah, my favorite video is Matsuken versus Deshiken. I don't know if, for you stream monsters out there, just go to YouTube, just type in Matsuken, Deshiken, and I don't know who's commentating. I think it's Nuki, but he loses his shit. It's just I don't know. You gotta YouTube it. But a couple things, number one about Rockefeller, I think the persona that he gives off, makes it seem, as though, he doesn't really, he's not concerned about like you were saying, Andrew, the minutia of the game. But
Mhm.
Rockefeller knows the game.
Mhm.
He is very knowledgeable about everything in Third Strike. It's just he chooses. It's just he wanted to portray that persona because he wanted to make Third Strike entertaining for people. But if you
Yeah.
asked him to break down a match, he could. He knows everything in terms of the technical aspects of it.
Right.
And a lot of that is, Rockefeller had to commentate himself. He didn't have a partner, so he was kind of, so that sort of makes it difficult because you don't have that person to kind of reel you in or to kind of.
He tag team with himself.
Yeah, basically he was a
Yeah.
tag team with himself. And I think the
Yeah.
second thing too is we need to remember that Co-op Cup isn't any normal event. Like if for those of you who've watched Co-op Cup in the past, they'll switch in between matches. They'll jump in the middle of a match. They'll jump towards the end of a match. So I'm not really sure exactly what Twitch is going to do in terms of like, do they want English commentators like you said just for top 8? Do they want it for the entire event? Because commentating something like Co-op Cup is extremely challenging because there's so many matches going on. There's so many feeds that are currently active during the broadcast, and so that's another challenge as well. One last question about the commentator guys, like I saw Ryan obviously champion TFC this past October. He made a comment on 3SJ saying how important it was that Co-op Cup has really good English commentary. He didn't really expound because that's kind of what Ryan does, right? In 3SJ, he just kind of, makes a comment on 3SJ and then he just allows it to kind of organically go from there. But
Let it
like,
marinate.
what do you think Ryan means by that? Like how important is this opportunity for, not so much the Third Strike community in Japan, but for America in terms of bringing Third Strike to, introducing it to a new audience, getting more people to play it. I mean, like, how important, like, how significant is this? I mean, is it, like, a really important thing where, like, all of us in the community should be, like, tweeting Twitch and giving them, telling them, hey, we really think you should have this person as commentary. I mean, how important is this?
I honestly think it's going to be a reflection of just how much or little the community cares. Because, like, do you guys remember? I don't remember which one, but there was one Evo where they put, I don't know who commentated, but it was just like literally two guys saying low four super. Okay, next low four super. It's like if it's the group of us or this is Third Strike or the people who claim to care the most about Third Strike throw two people who don't care, don't have any game knowledge to commentate, then it's like, what does that show about us, right? It's very poor. So we have to put people who care about it, know their thing. I think it's very important. Or else we just look dumb as a community.
And how can we do that? Like Duralaf, how do we do that as a community? How do we voice our opinions? How do we get Twitch to listen to us and say, hey, we really think that these would be, the right people to really help, elevate the game and bring it back?
Well, first thing you got to do is just talk to people. You got to tweet it out, tweet the Twitch, tweet to strong casters, show video footage of them. I'll be honest, I've been talking with a couple of people that try to throw my hat into the ring for Cooperation Cup, and the greatest fuel I have for that is TFC Day 2 Finals, where I was able to show off, hey, this is what I can do in a pressure setting with commentary. The whole of the Third Strike community, as small as we are, it takes a village. It takes the whole community to do this. One of the big things about the Third Strike community, not just commentary in general, is that we're very closed off to ourselves. We're on an island. As Daigo's SF5 video, all the games right now, they're all mountains that are really close together, but Third Strike's like off in the distance, and it's going to take a lot more effort. We have to be forward with what we're doing. You can't just sit back and just wait for it to happen. Laziness is never going to get anything done. We have to actually be proactive in what we do. And if you want your voice to be heard, say something.
How about you, Katie? How important is it? Do you really see this? Like, if we get just like two people just randomly to commentate Third Strike? Do you think it's going to make a difference as opposed to, getting people from the community or so forth and so on?
I definitely think it's important
Mm-hmm.
to have the right people.
Mm.
This is an opportunity. I mean, it comes honestly, like this is an opportunity for people who are stream monsters who don't really play the game about the game to get an opportunity to just like watch, learn. I think in general, most of America is still very about Third Strike, especially at a tournament level, because they think, oh, it's all young.
Sorry, guys, we're having some connection difficulties with Katie, but I believe he was saying that America thinks
there's
it's
no
all...
variety.
Yeah. So we're gonna let the connection problems with Katie sort themselves out in a little bit. But Lloyd, my last question to you, like, do you think it's because so many people are unfamiliar with Third Strike, do you think it might just be better just to get more mainstream commentators for Third Strike? In terms of people that are the current FGC are more familiar with, or do you think this would be a better time to just give new people some shine and an opportunity? I mean, how do we strike that balance?
It's like what the guys are saying. It's not. It's it's it doesn't have to be about like who commentates or anything like that, but it's more of like uh, you know the reflection that they give off of the community itself, because people are they saw the Twitch thing and English commentators for Twitch for Co-op Cup, and everybody jumped the gun and was like, oh, let's get Ultra David and James Chen, and all the respect to them for what they do and the commentary that they do for the new games, but in terms of commentating Third Strike, they're not. I don't feel like they're suited enough to commentate the type of caliber of tournament that Co-op Cup is. You know what I mean? I mean, that's pure Third Strike in its purest form. It's not just going to be all Chans. It's not just going to be all Yun, Kens. You have to know about 12. You have to know about Hugo. You have to know about, Dudley, Elena, Oro. You have to know about these characters. You can't just throw out Ultra David and James Chen and let them, remember about 20 years ago, past experiences that happened 20 years ago, That's not gonna happen. And Ultra David, might be okay with it if he refreshed, if he refreshes his information. But some of the stuff that he says, it's not accurate, and that's the thing that Third Strike needs. It needs accuracy, it needs specifics. Otherwise, people are just gonna look at Third Strike, as a generic thing. Like it's just okay, Chun Yun can dominate. No, it's not like that. There's always different ways to go about it. And my head is cut off, but you guys get the idea.
Yeah, sorry.
So
just Katie's
Alpha.
connection just kind of...
Yeah, sorry guys.
Yeah,
And it happens.
but anyway.
But general concept is get players who know the game, know the players, and whatever happens. I mean, you can have personality on there if you want, but again, this is a reflection of our scene. This is like English commentary. This is a reflection of all the English speakers out there. Like it goes to show if we know as much as the Japanese players. And if we don't, then they're not gonna trust us with that shit again.
Yeah.
Right.
So we gotta tread carefully with that kind of thing.
All right. Well, does anyone else have anything else to say before we go to break?
I think we should go to break and save.
Go to break. Go to break.
Go to break.
So we're gonna go to break, and unfortunately, I'm gonna have to cut off the stream for about 5 minutes while we work with these difficulties. But we will be back. Don't leave. Let us know in the chat who you think should commentate. Who should be in the English commentary team for Co-op Cup. Tweet us on This Is Third Strike. Tweet Twitch. Just let us know on 3S Junkies. But like Andrew says, start the conversation. I think it's, what's really important is that everyone shows that they actually care about who commentates at Co-op Cup. All right, guys. So we're gonna go ahead and take a break, and I'll be back. I will be back, and stay tuned.
Stay tuned.
That window's amazing.
All right, everyone, we're back. Thanks for bearing us with those technical difficulties. For those of you joining us late, I am Mute XP, and this is another episode of House of Strikes. I'm with our hosts, Carson, Nika KO, Katie Alpha, and Duralath. And so, our next topic, and this is kind of something that, I personally have been wanting to discuss with you guys. Obviously, Co-op Cup is the biggest Third Strike tournament of the year, and it's a 5v5 team tournament. But when it comes to certain games, particularly old school poverty games, when we think about the major events in Japan, whether it's for games like Super Turbo, Third Strike, Vampire Savior, CVS2, Mark of Wolves, and things of that nature, the significant events are always team tournaments. And so the next question that I wanted us to kind of tackle on the show is, why do you think team tournaments are so popular in Japan? Like, what is it about the team format that you think appeals to them? Obviously, this is not to say that they don't do singles tournaments in Japan. They do all the time, right? And they're single elim, single game. But in terms of the significant major events, it's always team tournaments. So, what do you guys think about? What do you guys attribute that popularity to? Let's start with you, Duralath. Why do you think team tournaments are so popular in Japan?
I think with team tournaments, you get a variety of you get more players, which is great to begin with. You get to see more players shine on different teams. Let's take the Co-op Cup format, where you can't have more than, I think it's three, like three of the same character on a team. It does give a chance for one of the criticisms is, again, Chun, Yun, Ken, but now you get a chance for other players to shine on with them. This is where you get your Makotos, your Urians, you get to see Yangs throw out. You see Necros everywhere. You get to see a Q every now and then. Team tournaments, especially when they allow for more characters to flourish, it really does. It does help show off the beauty of the game, because I feel like a lot of people get a very pigeonholed view of the game, because all they see is like a top three, and it's just like all Chun-Li's down the right. So with more team tournaments like this, you get more exposure to not just the different characters, but also the different play styles too. So you're not just seeing one player playing the Chun-Li, but you get to see, with team tournaments, if they have the same character, all right, what does he do differently with the character as opposed to the player that just went before him, or what can we expect from the players that are on? It adds a layer of depth, in my opinion, to the tournament itself, where you're not thinking about just, all right, X player versus Y player. You're thinking about, okay, team chemistry. You're thinking about, all right, how well have they done in the past? How well is the team built? A lot more things to think about, and it invariably adds to a more fun experience.
All right, Katie, what do you think? Why do you think team tournaments are so popular in Japan?
In Japan, I think it's more or less they understand that the game is meant to be enjoyed with as many people as possible. So with team tournaments, invariably you're going to get more participants. You're going to get something that you don't get in a singles tournament, which is you have all these different perspectives that you can rely upon. People of different backgrounds with different characters and different experiences, and they can give you insight that you otherwise wouldn't have in a singles tournament. So you can turn to a teammate who uses that same character, and you're like, hey, what should I be doing? What am I doing wrong? And they can tell you between rounds or before the match happens or even after the match happens. So you get a lot more insight and a lot more I just feel like the community feeling that you get is a lot more inclusive, as opposed to like a singles tournament where it's you versus everyone else. Like, you're not sharing tech with anyone. You're just gonna fucking go in and try and body everyone. So it's you versus the world. Whereas if you have a group with you, you feel like you have these people that you can rely upon.
Okay, sorry, I'm just distracted by the chat and SS4 link trolling me. How about you, Carson? What do you think? Why do you think team tournaments are so popular in Japan?
I mean, I think that my other two members over here said it pretty well. I mean, at the end of the day, it adds like another layer, depth, or it's a little bit more dynamic, right? Like if I'm playing Chun and I go up against this, whatever player, it's like I win. No one can be like, Chun beat this player. It's like, this person lost. Who do we put up next? Like I love that little thing where everyone gets in the little corner before the match and they take the booklet and they go, who is up? Who do we have? Who are we putting up next? Do we put up? We don't always go. Do we put up Carson? Do we put up Nika? It's like, do we put up the Yang? Do we put up the Chun? It's interesting. It makes it more interesting. I love that.
Lloyd?
What was the question? Okay.
Worst.
For the team tournament format, I mean, I personally I always thought that it stemmed from the singles format because they've always been single game, single elimination, and it's basically
Preparation,
goes
right?
hand,
It's almost like
not
preparation for
only
team
that,
tournament.
but it goes hand in hand with the team tournament, because it's all the same format, whether it be you're playing singles or team tournament, it doesn't matter, it's all the same. And I think it's that consistency that makes players, come out of their houses and just say like, oh, I can beat this top player in one game. That's the thing about one games. Like they can beat anybody. You can have a 12 beat a Chun in one game. You could have a Remy beat a Ken in one game. You can have these things. Whereas with 2 out of 3, you get that second chance with a low tier character. There's a reason why it's like 7-3, in terms of matchups. So. It creates a better chance for the newer players to get into the scene and show what they're made of, which is one of the reasons why we're trying to do it too. I mean,
well, plus just to add on to that, like if you think about it from like a new player perspective, like if they go into a singles tournament, like they're intimidated by the fact that they're going up against all these killers and all these players who have been playing forever. So if you are like forced onto a team or thrust onto a team with all these experienced players, all of a sudden you don't feel so apprehensive. You're like, well, my performance is going to be my performance, but like my team is going to be able to go on even if like I don't do well, if they do well. So you don't feel so much of anxiety going into a tournament like that because you're going to get that experience and you're going to be able to learn just from like playing in the tournament like that. Whereas in a singles tournament, like especially in America, man, like if you lose and you go 0-2, no one is telling you shit. You're just gonna fucking stand there with your fucking hands out and just asking people for advice, and they're gonna be like, "Yeah, man, just don't suck as much," or just fucking practice. So like,
it like rubs it in,
Yeah, exactly.
When you're losing not just twice, but you're losing like 4 times. If you go 0-2, you're losing 4 times in a 2 out of 3 format.
Yeah.
And it's like that's a punch in the gut. Like for new players too.
Yeah, exactly. Because then they're like, well, then what the fuck did I show up here for? Like, I didn't learn anything. I just learned I suck.
Yeah.
So it's like in a team tournament, man. Like, the players who are on your team aren't gonna want you to suck because they're gonna you're gonna be a burden to them a little bit. So they're gonna be like, hey, man, just do this, and this next time, or stay calm in this situation, or you'll have advice that's given to you, so you don't feel so bad for losing.
Like for me, one prime example was at TFC when we had the generals battle, and the team that I had, it was pretty solid. It was solid all around, and looking at the other team, you would think we would be able to compete, but then it came to a point where there was who was it? Was it Luke or something? Luke versus Bean.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And you look at Bean and he's a solid player. If you give him a chance with Yun, he beat Mutant in the tournament. So it shows that he's really good. But taking that into a single game format, he ended up losing, and then there goes half my team, and it just goes to show that that format is just so unforgiving, but it gives players a chance to really get in that spotlight. Whereas a 2 out of 3, nah, it's not gonna happen.
So what I noticed is in a lot of the majors over in Europe, like for example Studfest, when they showcase the old school aka poverty games, they're always running team tournaments. I believe in the last Stunfest, CVS2 was a 2v2, ST was I think 3v3. Don't quote me on that. I know Third Strike was 3v3. Do you think that the older games are more tailored to team format? Or,
well, I mean, like,
why do you think those majors are doing that? Like for example, why do you think Stunfest is, not like, oh, okay, we're not doing a single CVS2 tournament, we're doing a team CVS2 tournament?
Well, let's examine like what type of games they are. For example, like CVS2 singles is already fucking ridiculously long for that game, just because it's 3 fucking characters, and then you got to do double elimination, and it's just depending on how many people there are. CVS2 is, I would say, like not. It's an exception. It's not the rule. But for those other games, like maybe like ST and Third Strike, they go by pretty fast, and we've been doing singles tournaments for those games for literally decades now.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe some team tournaments here or there just to shake it up, just so it's not so monotonous and people feel like, oh, okay, I could go out for a team tournament. I mean, I've done singles for like 20 years, so let me go out for a team tournament and see how I do there.
Well, Carson should say something.
Just one team, one dream. It's more fun that way.
Is it? One team, one dream.
I feel
That's sick.
I feel like at the end of the day, though, I mean, it is more fun. I can't pinpoint for what exact reason. Maybe it's just more conversational. But if you go and you win in a single tournament or place well, it's like, okay, I did well. But in a team, it's like it's kind of naturally more hype, right? So one team, one dream. That's all I gotta say.
Well, it's like you know, single sports, single man sports versus like team sports, right? So like boxing, that's hype. That's fun to watch. But eventually, I mean, it's just gonna be one dude, like the only
Eventually,
one guy
you
can
know
win.
who the best is. Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
but like with a team, that's different, man, because there's all sorts of dynamics that go into that, chemistry and like how well they mesh together, who they match up against, stuff like that makes it much more interesting. So that's why like team sports, especially like in America, like football and basketball, those are really popular over here.
And one last point I want to make, you know, before we move on to our next topic, it's kind of a good segue, is, you know, what I noticed is obviously, you know, the FGC is trying to become more established in esports, right? But when we look at like the games, like the esports games that are established, that rake in the big bucks, what kind of games are these? I mean, are they single player games?
League of Legends.
You know, they're team games, right?
Good point.
Yeah.
So I always found it kind of weird, like, and then obviously, you know, players are getting sponsored now, right? You know, and so forth and so on, but they're still playing they're still playing a singles competition, and I, you know, it's not really I don't really have a question or anything. I guess more like an observation. It's just kind of funny to see that, right? Like when we think about the games that are established in the esports genre, the ones that constantly bring out the most viewers, the ones that constantly have the biggest pots and stuff like that, they're all team-based games. You know, like I remember yesterday I went on Twitch to see if Capcom Cup was up. You know, and it wasn't up yet, but you know how Twitch, they give you these recommendations on what to watch and stuff like that. And there was this one game, I already forgot the name. I already told myself I wouldn't forget the name of the game, but I already forgot it. But it's like they're playing soccer, but with cars. Like, I don't know what game that is. Like, did anyone know what game
Rocket
that is?
League.
Rocket League.
Oh, Rocket League, right?
Right?
Oh, yeah,
And I'm like,
yeah.
it's blowing my mind how much money these guys are playing for. And like, this game is like, you know, and
It's a really fun game.
Yeah.
It is, yeah.
and so, you know, it's just, I guess it's just interesting to me, right? That, you know, the FGC is insistent on singles achievement, singles competition.
Well, to be fair,
when
Capcom
the most
did
popular
try-
esports games are, you know.
I was gonna say, like, to be fair, Capcom did try. It was a good idea, but like, you know, poor in execution. But Cross Tekken, they did try and do like a team type of game where you could have like 2 players control 2 different characters, like in a team. And that was like a good idea. It's just in execution, it was very poor, right? Because it just didn't work out well. Like the game wasn't that good. So maybe it wasn't the idea that was bad. It was just the game that was bad. But there is like right now a lot of speculation for what is essentially Marvel vs. Capcom 4 that just got announced. And so people are thinking, oh, they're going back to 2v2 style. That's weird. Like it was 3v3 last game, so why is it 2v2 now? So I think people are speculating, and one of the more popular theories is that they're going to try and do a 2v2 style. So 2 people can play again with the same, like 1 character per person, and then you can do 2v2 matches. So that would...
Yeah. But that's not like what I'm talking about, right? Like the game doesn't have to be tailored to a team. Like here, imagine this, right? Imagine this, guys. Like imagine if there was another major event like Capcom Cup, but it was like a 3v3 tournament, and then and it was for SF5. Now you can have like Team
Knuckle
EG,
Dude.
right? Team
Yeah.
EG versus Team Liquid versus Team Winter Fox versus and it's a 3v3 and they're playing the same game. But how much more hype would that be? How much more? And I guess that's just curious to me why that hasn't been exploited, or maybe there's something logistic reason for it.
Well, they did it for SF4, didn't they? Like
they kind of did, yeah.
You remember
Sort of.
NCR when Snake Eyes like reverse OCV'd the team?
Oh,
and that was like one of the hypest moments in the history of that game. So.
But I'm talking about like a Capcom funded, sponsored, like a team version of Capcom Cup. How hype would that be to watch?
That would be sick.
It would be sick, but the problem here is that with the FGC, with what it is, there's not that. I'm going to be very honest. There's not that much draw for the fighting games as there is with MOBAs and with FPS and RTS. A fighting game is actually harder to understand than most of the other games out there. MOBAs are relatively easy to understand when you look at the core basics, because you've got to move one direction, destroy the core. That's fine. When you think of a fighting game and just the subtle nuances that go into it, it's harder to understand for the casual viewer. That's one point. The other point, though, what I see with the team tournament is that it's more hype for a team tournament because you're not just getting him behind one person. You're getting behind a team, and when you get behind a team, you tend to feel like you're a part of that team. Like most of the people in this chat or our panel here, we've all cheered for sports teams. Like I myself, I'm a diehard Lakers fan. So whenever I feel like the Lakers do something really well, I feel like I'm a part of that because I'm rooting for them. So when you see teams like Team EG, it's easier for the casual viewer to relate to a team banner itself, like Team Liquid, Team Winter Fox, because they can root for them instead of throwing themselves behind just one player. I think that when you get something like that, it's going to explode. But the problem is now you need to sponsor more players, and I don't know if a lot of companies are really willing to invest fully on to full esports divisions. Like Echo Fox, for example, only has one player, and that's Julio Fuentes. The biggest, the biggest FGC team in for esports is it's what Evil Geniuses, because they have Wong, they have K-Brad, Ricky Ortiz, they had a whole bunch of players for a while. Same thing with Mad Cats when they had it sponsored. So if we want to see team tournaments on that big stage, it's got to be at the sponsored level, in my honest opinion. Now it'd be great if we could see more open teams. More open teams, like these ad hoc teams that just come together to play. But ultimately, it's going to be a big bang for the buck kind of deal. The sponsorship's got to step up. But in order for sponsorship to step up, we got to show that we're worthy of that sponsorship. That's where, again, we've got to be active in what we're doing and promoting ourselves and showing to all these sponsors, hey, we're worth the money.
I wonder if the team thing is going to be featured in like Evo Japan.
That's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe
SBO's been defunct for quite some time,
Right.
Yeah, that's curious. I wonder how Evo Japan's going to be like. Is it just going to be like a rehash of Evo America, or is it going to be completely different? I don't know. Well, guys, so I think we've discussed the shit out of this topic. But speaking of team tournaments. And I in no way chose this topic in order to plug any recent events, but just by coincidence, in a couple weeks, NEC 17 is happening.
Oh, is that in a couple weeks?
Yeah, it is. It's actually set to take place on December 16th to 18th, and it's a Big E. Shout outs to Big E. But at NEC, This is Third Strike is going to be running Jamma City, which is itself a team event. 3 separate team tournaments with 3 separate pot bonuses. 2v2 ST, 3v3 Pokemon Third Strike, and 3v3 Vampire Savior. And so, Lloyd, do you want to say anything about that event before we go to break?
Well, the day before, for all you players who are looking to do something, because Jamma City is a one-day event on that Saturday. So the day before, we're going to be having the New Blood Battle Royale for we're all basically each scene is going to try to do something on that Friday. Vampire Savior is running singles. Us at Third Strike, we're going to be running a New Blood Battle Royale for all you new players. And ST, they haven't really decided yet. I mean, they're probably going to run a generals.
It's looking like a war, like a general.
Yeah,
battle.
like a generals battle. Okay, so yeah, I mean, they're all planning to do something, and at that point, you'll be able to come in on Friday, get used to the way the venue is and everything, and then get ready for Saturday. I mean, it's going to be not only that, but you can also use that point on Friday to find teams, because registration is going to be closed on in the morning on Saturday, so you can find a team then, and just compete in the tournaments themselves and look for that pop bonus.
Yeah, due to logistic reasons, unfortunately, we were unable to have players signed up individually for online in terms of paying their tournament fee. But really, the point of Friday is for everyone, to come to the arcade section at NEC and sign up in person for any one of the 3 team tournaments, and then the team tournaments will take place on Saturday, and finals. Top 4 for each game will be happening on Sunday. So as we say again, as I said again, the information for Jama City is on your screen. Again, 3 separate 3-team tournaments, 3 separate pot bonuses. If for more information, just go to tinyurl.com/JAMA2016. So hopefully you guys come out and support not just Big E, not just NEC, but also some of the old school games, particularly ST and Vampire Savior. They've really been stepping up their game. Third Strike's been stepping up their game too. I kind of like how all the poverty games are have been really experiencing a kind of resurgence this past year. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and move on to the next topic. So obviously, guys, Capcom Cup was last night, or at least the top 8 for Capcom Cup was last night, and congratulations to Liquid Knuckle Dew for taking Capcom Cup. Also second place, E.G. Ricky Ortiz. So obviously America showing their muscle at Street Fighter V. And so, that kind of brings us to our next question. So, obviously there are a lot of players that are, that play both Third Strike and Street Fighter V. For example, I know, Duralath, you're someone who's, who constantly goes back and forth. And so, how difficult is it to switch back from 5 to 3S? Because I know when, before 5 came out, there was a lot of speculation, as to how the engine would work in 5. Would it be closer to Third Strike? Would it be closer to Alpha? Now that the game has been out for about a year, I think it's good to kind of look and see, like, how hard is it? How much different is it from Third Strike? Are there things that you can take from your Third Strike game that you can take from 5, and vice versa? Can playing 5 make you better in Third Strike? I mean, just to be fair, what are all the possibilities? So we'll start with you, Andrew, since you're someone who plays 5 a lot.
When I played Third Strike and when I played 5, it does take me around 30 minutes to an hour if I play one after the other to switch between the 2 games. That's just to make sure that I'm well within the system of the game I'm playing. There are times in SF5 where I catch myself trying to fish for a down parry, and I'm like, why the hell am I doing this? Wrong game, stupid. And then I eat a fatty combo for like 60% damage. That being said, whiff punishing is still huge. If you can whiff punish well in Third Strike, you'll be good at it in 5. You look at how Ricky Ortiz played in Capcom Cup. I think there was a match. I forget if it was against like Food or I'm not sure who she played, but she fierced her opponent like 6 times in a row
in the corner, right? I think that was against Kazanoku. It was Kazanoku.
Yeah, it was Kazanoku. Yeah,
it was Kazanoku. Okay, so you look at you still have to remember your ranges, and you still have to think about optimizing your damage and the setup out there. Now, one of the things that is huge for Third Strikers to remember, and both Daigo and Kuroda on Kuroda touched on this in those little videos from the Institute of Ryu that Daigo's been putting out. we don't know how to fight with fireballs because fireball is not a viable option in Third Strike. In SF5, it is now. So there's you have to think about playing that old school fireball Dragon Punch game. You have to factor that in. That's going to be alien to a lot of Third Strike players. So you still have to be hardy about it. You don't have the option of jump in, parry. There's not that mix of both. So you have to think about things a little differently. One of the things though that's really going to help a Third Strike player go to 5 is hardiness. In Third Strike, if you lose out, if you make a mistake, you're going to eat a fatty combo. 5, I feel you get punished in the same way. You're not going to eat the same amount of damage, but the potential is there. If you're a hardy Third Strike player, if you're good about just staying solid and not opening yourself up too crazily, be smart about where you place your buttons, place your pokes, place your normals. You'll find a little more success there. And a lot of it I've honestly thought is like literally reading. Mm-hmm. There's more about reading the opponent and just kind of making those hard reads and thinking about your opponent. Now, a lot of people tend to disagree with me because then again, you could just wake up jab and wake up jab just ruins everything. Please patch that for season 2. In terms of going from 5 to SF3, that's like Pandora's box right there. There's so much more to going into Third Strike as opposed to going from 3S to 5.
Mm-hmm. So you think the transition from Third Strike to 5 is easier than the transition from 5 to Third Strike? Like if you were like a 5 player and then you're like, hey, you know what? Third Strike looks pretty sick after watching Co-op Cup and after watching you commentate, and you're like, it's pretty hype. I think I'm going to pick up Third Strike. So you think that transition will be harder for the 5 player?
It would be harder for a 5 player just because defense is different. In Third Strike, MOV told us this in 2009. Your defense is reliant particularly on your stick. When you think about your block is there, your parry is there, but also defensive movement is there. Defense, in my opinion, you don't want to use a button every time for defense. SF5 tends to teach players that because you're gonna defend with wake up 3-frame jab, or you have to V reversal, in which case you have to hit a button in order to defend against a certain situation, or throw tech. And I mean, you got to throw tech in both 3S and 5. Your defense is reliant in your movement and the joystick. So for a 5 player coming to Third Strike, that's going to be a little different because now they have to think, okay, well, I can't hit a button to try and defend something. Like in SF4, part of your defense was the focus attack. So you have to almost disengage yourself from hitting a button in order to defend, unless you can read a situation where a button actually makes sense as the proper defense. Where like if you're going to defend against a dash in and you're at that range, you would want a low forward to stop that. That might be the option you pick. But again, for a 5 player coming into Third Strike, that's one of the things they have to remember. Defense is a lot harder in this game.
So Lloyd, I know that in your past streams, you have told your stream monsters that you do plan on picking up 5 after Co-op Cup. So what are you still going to do that, or what do you? Now that season 1 is over, what do you think about, what do you think about Akuma? It's funny because you used Akuma in 4 too.
I don't know. I mean, I'm not too, you guys already know that, I'm not too big of a fan of games constantly changing like that, and I mean, I'll give it a try. I'll play it. I'll see how it is, but from just basing off of the common opinion that I've gotten from Third Strike players who played it, some people say that it's good. Like Frankie, he would say that it's good, but Jibbo, he would say otherwise. Like it's it doesn't feel good. It just doesn't feel right. And for me, I don't want to put myself out there and just to play a game and not be happy about it, because it's like the moment you start playing something and it's not fun for you, then you shouldn't be doing this at all.
I agree.
It's like if you're gonna play like something like baseball or something, and you get onto the diamond and you're like, and you get up to practice or warm up or whatever, and you feel like you don't want to be there, then it's time to retire. So for me, Third Strike has always been that type of game where I'm just like, okay, I can play anything else. Like I could play Third Strike and go to any other game. But if I was to play Street Fighter V and try to come back, it's gonna fuck me up entirely. And I'm not one to diminish my skill as a player just because another game requires me to do that. Like I know where my potential is. I know that I can react to a three frame normal or something like that, or whatever, -3 on block or whatever, something like that. Whereas with Street Fighter V, the game hinders me, and I don't like being hindered like that. So I'm not. I'll give it a try, but I'm not the type to. If I don't like it, I'm not gonna play it. Plain and simple.
So, Katie, we have Jibbo on the chat right now, and just a heads up, guys. When we go to break, our next segment will be the Q&A session. So definitely have your questions lined up. But one of the things I noticed Jibbo saying is that the game is not exciting, quote unquote exciting. What is an exciting fighting game to you, Katie? And does five seem to fit that bill?
I'm gonna be super honest here. I'm gonna be fucking real as fuck. All right, I fucking hate 5. I do not enjoy watching it. I don't think it's a good game. I don't think it's a bad game, but I don't think it's a good game. 4 was a terrible game. So like if that's your starting floor, then anything other than that improves upon that is better. So 5 automatically by default is better than 4. But I don't think it's a good game just because it seems very one-dimensional across the board for every character. The mix-up is always throw or shimmy, and then just fucking footsies, and that's it. And there's nothing else. There's no system that changes that. There's no mechanic that adds variance to that. Because the V trigger is pop it off whenever you want, and then still fucking shimmy or footsie your way in there and hope that it works. And then I don't know, man. It's not fun to watch. Like when I first saw 5, I was like, okay, this seems kind of cool. They're trying to do something like Alpha. They have Alpha counters and they have these Alpha characters in there, and I thought that would be cool. And then they didn't do anything else. That's all the game is. There's nothing else to it. So, as far as what makes it exciting to me is I like mix-ups. I like rushdown. I like pressure. I like stuff that forces people into situations where they have to guess. They have to make these choices. And if you're not making any choices and you're just down backing and waiting for your opportunity, well, that's what I had a problem with in 4. And now there's even more of that in 5. So I don't like that. And I don't like the fact that, as Duralast said, wake up button is a thing. Like, that's the thing. Wake up jab, wake up low strong or stand strong or whatever the button is. Like, to me, that's not a decision. That's a guess. You're just guessing. And so if it's not forcing you to make a decision, and now the player who has the knockdown should have the advantage is thinking, oh shit, well, I got to get in the range where I can try and hopefully have a meaty situation or some sort of 50-50. I don't like that. It just isn't fun to me, and that's not what makes the game exciting to me. But as far as games that are exciting, I can watch CVS 2 all day. I can watch Third Strike obviously all day. I like watching Alpha 3. I can even watch Vampire Savior because that game has a lot of momentum in it. What else do I like? I like King of Fighters 13. That game to me was the sickest to watch. And even though I don't like playing it, I loved watching Marvel vs. Capcom 3. That game was super hyped to watch. I can watch Melee because it's super fast paced and there's a lot of stuff going on all the time. Even if they're not attacking each other, there's still so much tech in that game as far as wave dashing and just all the stuff that goes on with movement in that game. So even that game to me is much more exciting to watch than Street Fighter V, where it's just super one-dimensional, man. And I feel like if you've been playing fighting games for as long as most of us have, then you're looking for something interesting. You're looking for something that's going to make it dynamic. You're looking for something other than, oh, well, it has all the stuff a fighting game should have. It has Ryu in it, and it has Ken in it, and it has Hadoukens and Shoryukens, and you can meaty and you can throw. And, that's all cool, but that was stuff that we established 25, 30 years ago. So if the game hasn't moved on from there, and in fact it seems to have regressed, just to be more inclusive to players who weren't able to keep up or new players who like don't know about any of that stuff, then it feels like, I don't know, man. Like, what's the point in it for me? What enjoyment or what fun is it for me to play a game that's a simplified version of something I've been doing for 20, 30 years?
Yeah, it's funny that you say those things, Katie, because remember, like, you know, there was a few months ago, there was some complaints about really old school, from old school fighting game players, about how, you know, 5 is specifically engineered to make it more exciting, supposedly, right? Like the fact
How?
that you can't like whiff punish, like there are things like, you know, like in terms of the input lag and just the fact that, you know, it's designed to make you guess, and that's supposed
Who
to be
thought
exciting.
these were good ideas?
I don't know. I mean,
Who Someone at Capcom needs a reality check, son.
Uh-oh.
First of all, 8 frames delay is ridiculous. Like,
it's 6 now.
Like we complain, we complain on
Big
Third Strike.
difference. Ooh.
Yeah, we complain on Third Strike if there's a frame or two if we're playing on flat screen. So I can't even imagine what a Third Strike player would like how they would react if we had to play on 8 frames of delay. They're like, what the fuck? Fuck this! I'm not playing on this shit.
Mm-hmm.
So that automatically by default like puts a Third Strike player in a different position because they're like, dude, why are you guys putting up with this shit? Make Capcom change the game. Like, you guys can fucking actually. Like, the difference now is the community has a voice. They can tell the developers and the people at Capcom, hey, we don't like this. You should change this because, like, for example, they're changing anti-air jabs because everyone was complaining about it.
Mm-hmm.
So if everyone is complaining about these 8 frames of delay, they can fix that. There's something they can do to fix that. And I don't know if they could make it like no frames or like even 1 frame, but they can do something. They can make it 6 frames. Like, that's better than nothing.
Mm-hmm.
So there's that, and then not being able to whiff punish something, that's like a lack of a skill. So like, how is that hype?
Well, because it forces opponents to make more hard reads, and supposedly the hard reads are what's makes like last night, right? Like when she would do like Hazanshu, and then she would do like EX Spinning Bird. Like, that's a hard read. And that wasn't hype to you guys? Like, that wasn't like, whoa. No? Okay, never mind. All right. Like,
You know, it's
all right.
the way I always thought about
And
that.
also
was
Mika,
like,
right? SS Link. Like, Mika, like, that character is basically roulette, right? With 2 legs and, you know, boobs and an ass, right? Like, she's just like, she's a guessing machine. So,
You got jackpot 3 times in a row. Congratulations.
Like, the thing with that hard read, it's like, you look at it like the way Daigo used to do it. Like, when Daigo first did that, you know, it's an Ume Shoryu. But somebody else does that and they fuck up, what is it? It's a dumb decision. Like you're a fucking idiot because, you know, you're sure you got blocked. You know, and it's like, there's no in between. It's either you're a fucking idiot or you're smart as shit. But it's like, you know, you just did something. You know, it's not, you flipped a coin and you said, okay, let's let the chips fall where they may. You know, and that doesn't show, that's not skill to me. Honestly, I mean, that's not skill.
Mm-hmm.
You cannot sit there and tell me you're gonna get. I mean, you can get to 2nd place in Capcom Cup and, you know, and do that, but, you know, it works for the game. But, you know, we all know how good Ricky Ortiz can be.
Mm-hmm.
We all know that she'd rather not do that. You know, she'd rather, you know, do something smart instead of have to resort to that. You know, that's just, you know, that's just ridiculous. You know.
And the other thing, okay, so one more part to my rant about Street Fighter.
All right, go ahead. This is your segment, Katie.
Okay. Yeah, okay. So in my complaints area, I feel like when going back to Ume Shoryu, like I think it was Evo 2013 or 2012, I was like maybe winners finals or grand finals or something where Daigo was playing versus I believe it was Punko, and he was using Yun at the time.
That was
And-
2014, I think.
Yeah, 2014. Okay, so he like they played a match and like I think Daigo won the first one and then Punko just fucking read Daigo and realized Daigo was just gonna uppercut. So he just blocked and Daigo uppercutted maybe 7 or 8 times.
He
And
did it until he died.
Yeah, every time he did it, he got punished hard and he lost like 2 straight games and I think the last one was a perfect too. So like
Yeah.
those
I was there.
situations it's like it's not really so much of a guessing game as you're trying to condition your opponent to think, oh well, he won't do that again, or he might not do that again, but he gambled it. So in those situations, it wasn't a smart gamble. Third Strike has some of that. So I like for people who are gonna defend Street Fighter Five, they'll be like, oh well, Third Strike has that too. If you guys want to always down parry, that's a guess, or if you want to wake up parry, that's a guess. But the difference is,
It's a mechanic in the game.
yeah, exactly. In Street Fighter Five, it's like that hard read is built into the game. And in Third Strike, if you want to do something like that, that's your decision. You have to commit to that. Whereas in Street Fighter Five and high level play, that's just what you have to do.
Carson, you have any? Do you have any plans on playing 5?
I mean, just to be fair, I guess. So first, I do want to try 5. I just never got around to it. I guess I'm making excuses. But to be fair, when I first started playing Third Strike, I actually didn't like it.
Mm-hmm.
I came from Marvel vs. Capcom 2.
Mm-hmm.
So Third Strike was like, a much slower paced game, right? So I don't know. It took me a while, and also I don't know if I'm playing devil's advocate, just being fair. When America started playing Third Strike, it was a very different Third Strike, right? Like we did not know how to use Urien at all. It was like an SA2 Urien or something like that. It wasn't until Tokido came in 2005 or 4. I don't remember the tournament, and he first did that unblockable. It was like, what the heck is that? It was completely game changing. So. I don't know, like to be fair, guys, Street Fighter 5 is young. Needs some time to marinate sauce.
I can accept. I'm sorry. I gotta stop you right there. I can accept that it's young, but they don't let it.
They change it.
They don't exactly. They don't let it marinate.
They updates, right? They add the updates, right? Yeah,
it's like you put something in the oven for like 2 minutes and then you take it out. You want to eat that shit?
Right. So. To your point, I do find that in today's society, maybe it's a shame that with the advanced technology, we can just download updates like that. We don't let. If you're right, we don't let the game marinate and bake.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I mean, that's just the one problem. Like, if they let Street Fighter 5 go, let it evolve on its own for about more than just like 5 years. Let it go for 10 years. Fuck it. Let it do that. So. Then see where you're at.
Mm-hmm.
Keep the game. Don't change it.
The problem with that though is that they're running a business, right?
There's no money in that. There's no money in releasing one game.
They gotta make their money any way they can, so they're gonna go and dime you for DLC and for updates, for costumes.
They make enough money with packages like costumes and stages and all that type of stuff. Just as much as they would with updates like to the game.
Mm-hmm.
It's that capitalism, baby. It's all about the dollar. Got to make as much as we can.
All right. Well, on that note, guys, we're gonna go ahead and take a quick break. We're gonna try to brighten up this show a little bit because after the break, we're gonna have our instant classic favorite segment, and that's the Q&A session. So for those of you who are on the stream, write your questions down. Tweet us your questions. You can tweet your questions at any of our hosts' Twitters. You can tweet your questions at This Is Third Strike. You can email them at houseofstrikes@gmail.com. Do whatever you need to do. But give us some questions to answer, and in a couple minutes we'll be back to answer them. All right, guys, stay tuned. Oh shit. My bad. All right, guys. So welcome back to House of Strikes. It's that time in the show now where we're gonna field some of your questions. And so the first question we're gonna field is actually a question that was left on our This Is Third Strike Facebook page, and it comes from Brian from Chicago. And Brian had a question about the about a certain board version. Can you read the question, Lloyd? Because I don't want to mess up the stream.
Where is it on
It's on the
our
Facebook.
page?
Yeah, it's on the This Is Third Strike page.
Give me 1 second. From Brian. Brian who?
Brian from Chicago. You know
Oh, okay.
the Chicago crew.
Okay, so a bit of an odd duck question. Is there anything funky about the Asia no CD version of Third Strike? I know this. Well, 990512. I know this number is typically for the Japanese no CD version. Well, mine explicitly says Asia, running on CPS3 Supergun. It appears to be version A because Canvas and Kodo Nibash glitch worked. Any reason why this is not turning viable to the most fickle of players? Well, first off, there is no difference. The only difference between those two versions is that the sound, like the sound effects. Like for example, when Ken he does a fireball, he doesn't say Hadouken.
Oh yeah,
all
the Japanese sayings are censored. I think
are subbed out for something else.
Yeah.
And you know that's one of the only differences. Because the number is the same, so it's the exact same board. It's just a different region. There's nothing different about it, so it's the same exact game. Now, in terms of the Ken versus Makoto thing and why that's not tournament viable, reason being, well, for practical reasons, because if there was a glitch every time, you'd have to reset the board and set everything up back again. So that's one of the main reasons why it was banned, like in Japanese tournaments and stuff.
Okay.
So.
All right. So thank you, Brian, for that question. So we're gonna go ahead and go through some other questions in the chat. So we have a question here from Lance. Shout outs to Lance from Alaska. And so the question is, what will the first meeting of KO and Nika KO be like? What will happen? Will the universe implode, or
they're gonna do the fusion dance?
They're gonna.
Oh my god!
Are they just gonna look at each other and just be like, "Does KO even know who you are, Lloyd?"
I remember Lance told me he was like that. He was like, "Oh, do you know about Nika KO?" He's like, "Wait, I'm KO." And he's like no, not you, like Nika KO from America. He's like, but I'm KO, and I'm like okay, that makes sense.
I respect that.
But it's the first meeting. I don't know. We'll have to see. Who knows if I'll even meet him?
Yeah, I know.
But we could be just busy, going throughout the tournament to not even meet him. But in terms of playing, I think I'll be ready for him.
Uh-oh. All right. Okay. So, Denges, shout outs to Denges for showing up to two events every year. So, according to Denges, his question is, I guess it's directed towards us, I guess. What is the strategy and game plan for each 5v5? And who goes up based on match-up/player? I don't know. That question kind of sucks, but.
Well, the strategy is, first off, it depends.
Well, it depends on who we're playing, right?
Yeah. It depends. You could say it depends on the players, but for the most part, it depends on the characters. Because you just gotta assume that everybody's at the top of their game over there. So we would have to go by the characters. Now, I guess that answers the second one. Who goes up based on matchup player? That you just base it on the character and whatever. Like for example, if we were to play like a Chun Yun Ken Makoto Yang team, and it all depends on who they start with. If they start with the Makoto, if they start with the Makoto, I think I would go first to take out the Makoto because my character is the most consistent to play that character. I want to say Frankie for the top tiers because he knows how to play against them.
Mm-hmm.
And Muin, he knows how to play against the top tiers too. So just that fact alone, I know for a fact that, Alex won't be able to deal with Makoto. Gavin, he has trouble against Makoto. And Muin doesn't like Makoto either. So, me taking that away from them, it kind of reduces the pressure from playing that team.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's a lot for us to think about, but, we'll get to that when the time comes.
Like you gotta see who you're up against first. We don't really. I don't think like brackets are even out. Like there's no set like telling who you're gonna play it. So
who's your team?
We do.
Who's your team? Well, there's a list of teams, but not a bracket. Who's your?
Yeah.
Well, because the thing is, what they do is, I talked about this before. I fucking forgot to upload it. What they do is they give us a list of the players in our block.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Like of the teams in
but
our
that's
block.
Not out yet. That's not out yet.
No, it's not. We don't get that until that time off.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna. You're asking who's on my team.
Yeah.
I have Jonas from Canada.
Mm-hmm.
I have two other guys. I've never three of my team members I haven't even met yet. So it's like Jonas from Canada, two other guys like Daniel and another guy named Blink, I think. Mm-hmm. And then there's myself, and then our anchor is none other than Arliath Trelare,
mm-hmm. Thomas
Shin, aka the Pink Makoto, aka last year's Co-op Cup. Everybody fell in love with him on the stream. It was the long hair, go figure. So that's my team, and then pre-Co-op Cup, I'm actually on the Makoto 5 for the Gaijin.
Mm-hmm.
I'm literally just gonna play Super 3 Makoto and just say fuck it.
You didn't try to get on Alex's team?
There's no Alexes out there. I didn't see any Alex teams. I didn't have any contact with them, and the Makoto team actually wanted
mm-hmm.
they wanted a Gaijin Makoto team.
Mm-hmm.
I've actually put time into Makoto because she's just more fun to me now. So I'm on the Makoto 5 for the Gaijin team, which is like me, Makoto, Mike, Shin from Texas, Arliath, and then I believe Lance, who's That's gonna be an awesome team. I'm playing Yellow Makoto, by the way.
I think Lance should go first, and Makoto Mike should go last. It doesn't matter who you play. I think that should be like the middle order is whatever, but it should always be Lance first, and then Makoto Mike last. You always want Mommy as your anchor.
Yeah, well, you can do Mommy or Tom. Or you can do Arliath. So
but you want Tom in the middle because he's like, he's like the.
I see what you're getting at. Yeah.
So, but I think it doesn't matter who you play. It should Lance first, Mommy last.
Yeah.
That's because you hit them with Mommy at the end. Oh my gosh.
Yes. Yeah, he's sick.
Lord. Yeah, that's gonna be crazy. So let's see some other questions we got here. Will Japan be ready for the New York wake-up guests? That's another question from. What do you think, Lloyd? Will they be ready for the New York wake-up guests?
No,
they won't be.
No. No, I'm kidding. If Ahmed was here, they wouldn't be. But with us, we don't guess that much on wake up, but we could. Mm-hmm. We know how to use it. So we'll see. Mm-hmm. We'll see what happens.
Okay. So, question from Sultan Colton. Shout outs to Colton. Austin transplant, now living in Jersey, part of the D-Town crew. Is everyone that's going to NEC, are they willing to pool money together so we can split the jackpot at roulette? Hey, man, I'm down. I'd be down. Have a pool roulette bet. How much to get in on this? Because I'm gonna gamble a little bit at NEC. I need to earn that. I need to make up that pot bonus we're giving out. I'll play, get on the Paigow tables for a couple hours. 1,000 on 3. All right, good shit. Okay.
That's way more than the pot bonus right there.
Yeah, I know, right? Okay, last question is from Link. This might be for you, Katie, since you live in Texas. Link asks, what is the proper way to clean off my hands before getting on stick after eating ribs?
That's a good fucking question.
So most of this is real talk. Most of the barbecue joints down here, whenever you like order anything, like it doesn't even matter what it is. If you order anything from a barbecue joint, they usually give you like some wet naps as part of like the complete package. So just save those to the end, man. If that shit doesn't get the job done, then you probably need a shower.
Have you ever been in a situation where like have you like had barbecue sauce or grease on the stick when you went on there?
I want to say like I've played on a couple sticks where like there's been some questionable fluids. Sure.
Yeah. Oh, that's gross. Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess wet naps, right?
Yeah, wet naps. Wet naps is the way to go.
All right. So we got one. What is this?
Stupid. Stupid to her left. You just see Predator handshake. You can already know what it is. Dylan, you son of a bitch.
Okay. What is this? A Predator handshake?
Yeah.
That's hilarious. All right. Okay, well, I guess that does it for the Q&A session. And so we're gonna go ahead and move on to the last segment. And so this last segment is called Pack It Up. It's something that we're gonna do, or hopefully do. It depends how good material we have. So basically we're gonna end the show with this new segment called Pack It Up. And so, you know, obviously for those of you who play Third Strike, you know that there's a lot of Third Strike footage out on YouTube, right? And not all of the footage on YouTube is
golden.
It's very good. So I thought what we would do is we would pay homage to 5 of some of the not so pro 3S clips on the internet. This was all
some of the lights.
Yes, this was all released in this past week. Okay, and so
oh man,
and so none of the hosts have seen it. Only I've seen it because obviously I created the video. And so
I saw one.
And so this is I didn't include that one actually.
Oh, okay.
No, I didn't include that one. So anyway, so this is a new segment. Grimlock could have an entire segment of Pack It Up himself, probably. But so without further ado, this is called Pack It Up here. Let me see where the video is.
There we go.
All right. So Pack It Up. All right. So our first nominee. Shout outs to Kuro Psychopath. So this is probably like the easiest stun this Oro player has ever gotten. I guess, you know, there's something to be said for keeping an eye on your stun meter. You know, just kind of, when rushing it down goes wrong. So here's nominee number 2. There's some sick-ass punishes out there, and that's not one of them.
No, I love how he waits.
He waits, right? He waits and then he jumps and he jabs. Oh god. So our third nominee, this is when Reese goes wrong. Right? I don't know how you could even. You have to try really hard to get that to lift.
I don't
Yeah,
know
this was pretty sick. This is nominee number 4. No. That's not gonna. That's a pretty bad rose. But here's the worst thing about it, guys. Look closely, though. Look closely what he does here. Look closely. It wasn't even a punish. He just stopped walking.
And he hit it crouching.
I have no idea what happened. And this is nominee number 5. This is how not to chip someone. Okay. Oh my god. Yeah, dude. So tweet us your favorites, right? Tweet us by number. Tweet us which one was your favorite Pack It Up nominee. Oh gosh. So shout outs to all the YouTube people. You know, it's all in good fun, guys. At least you're streaming Third Strike, man. It's
Wow.
good. Okay.
I want to give my personal endorsement for number 3.
Number 3?
It's too sick. He decided he was gonna crouch block with his face.
All right, guys. So we're gonna go ahead and end the show there. Anyone want to have any parting shots or any closing comments? We'll start with you, Lloyd.
No, just be sure to check out Jamma City, guys. 2 weeks, and then we'll be in there.
Definitely.
And
definitely.
yeah, cheer on us for a Club Cup.
All right, Katie.
Fuck Street Fighter 5. That's pretty much it.
Do you have any 3S related events coming up in your neck of the woods?
No, I think we're done for the year. Everyone is chilling. We're on winter break, so look for more stuff next year.
All right, cool. And Duralath.
You guys heard us here. Tweet at Twitch. Let them know who you want to see for Third Strike at Co-op Cup for the English stream. And again, just keep playing, guys. Play your best. Don't short yourself, and have fun with the game, guys.
All right. So once again, guys, you've been watching House of Strikes. I forgot to mention Carson had to dip a little bit early, which is why he wasn't there. Again, as Lloyd said, join us in a couple weeks for Jamma City at NEC 17. 3 separate team tournaments, 3 separate pod bonuses. Also, on the Friday of NEC, we are running our New Blood Battle Royal. Battle Royal style, survival style, open to only novice Third Strike players. So definitely check that out. Aside from the the Battle Royal, we're also going to have a couple of events for Vampire Savior and ST as well. So definitely keep us in mind for that. So, pack it up, right? It's time to pack it up. All right, guys, on that note, thanks for joining us for House of Strikes, and we'll see you guys next time. Later.
Later, guys.